In the meanwhile, I am working with the 188 ministers of finance who control the world's gold. We have learned that Switzerland is home to the network of global corporate control. The network of global corporate control is a conglomerate that has been corrupting all of the politicians and business moguls in the world. From Sean Ross, we also learned that the network of global corporate control has been operating out of Switzerland ever since the Templars were outlawed in France on Friday, October 13th, 1307, when the French king, Philip the Fair, arrested all the Templars in France. We also learned how during the 30 Years' War between 1618 until 1648, about 100,000 Swiss mercenaries under Templar control committed genocide against the Germans, killing 20 million Germans and their children, corresponding to 2/3 of the German population. Whole cities disappeared from the earth. And in Alsace-Lorraine, Gallo-Roman Alsace-Swiss mercenaries killed 95% of the population. In 2014, there was word in major international newspapers that Switzerland wants to build a great empire now with Alsace, southern Germany, western Austria, and northern Italy, and repatriate to the Reich all ethnic Swiss. What we have here is a modern-day whodunit. We're putting all these clues together. Who is we? It is the Coalition for the Rule of Law that is predicted by the power transition model that came to the World Bank in 2004 and which is 90 to 95% accurate. Now let me give you one other clue. It's about Major General Konstantin Petrov, leader of the Conceptual Party and head of the opposition project Concept in the Civil Security. Konstantin Petrov died on July 21st, 2009. He supposedly died of natural causes, but his friends and colleagues still believe that Petrov was poisoned. And now let's show a clip, Carmen, about Konstantin Petrov.
This is a message to the Russian army and the Russian people. This great Russian Major General, Konstantin P. Petrov, saw the Pharaoh show and knows how the Nazi Templars of Octagon, Switzerland were the brain behind World War II, who are responsible for the murder on 25 million Russians because the Swiss Nazi Octagon Templars financed and ordered Hitler throughout the whole war. Let's team up.
Сейчас вот это то, что многие политики называют мировое правительство, сила Запада, там как Жириновский, мировое закулисье, это и есть. И сейчас, начиная со времен Древнего Египта, вот эта мафия, которая управляет процессами на планете Земля, она мигрировала, и сейчас ее основная штаб-квартира – это Швейцария. Кстати, вот информация к размышлению. Многие зрители наверняка смотрели фильм «17 мгновений весны» про Штирлиц. Если там помните, вот вся Европа полыхала в пожарах войны, а доктор Плечнер кормил лебедей в Женевском озере. И спрашивается, если фюрер был такой лихой малый, то почему бы ему не взять и не грабануть швейцарские банки? Там же ведь деньги, золото лежало. А Гитлер туда не пошел. То есть Швейцария была неприкосновенной. Почему? Да потому что Гитлер прекрасно понимал, что в Швейцарии находятся его хозяева. И весь победный марш Гитлера по Европе был ничем иным, как сдача ему под единое руководство всего людского, промышленного и военного потенциала Европы для броска на СССР. А зачем? А дело в том, что осуществляя вот эту самую глобализацию, вот эти глобализаторы, они подвели человечество к глобальному системному кризису. И
This rare picture shows Adolf Hitler in Zurich, Switzerland in 1923, when the Swiss Templars financed him 30,000 Swiss francs, which is about €500,000 today, for the first financing only. And for the rest of the war, the Swiss Nazi Templars gave all the orders and made the concentration camps possible, even ordering them. These are all Swiss Nazi Templars' ideas.
Ее уже мы продаем. Я вот помню маленьким мальчиком, то есть я из-под крана запросто воду пьешь, и, в общем, никаких проблем. А теперь из-под крана вряд ли кто воду пьет. Даже детишки уже не пьют. Они знают, бутылочки надо покупать, продавать там, из них водичку пить. Следующая проблема вот в этом смысле, чтобы представить ее, как она решается. Вот представьте, мы та самая мафия. Мы живем в Швейцарии. Вот. А в Чернобыле как жахнуло, как говорил Петруха, помните, в белом солнце пустыни. И радиоактивное облачко может до нас докатиться, и с неба дождичек может покапать.
While we're on the subject of Russia, let's remember Anatoly Fomenko's website at Moscow State University that's showing us how our understanding of ancient history was completely fabricated out of whole cloth in the 1600s. Ancient Greece actually took place nearly 1800 years later and occurred in medieval Greece. As for the Greek people, a significant number of them know there is no justification for the bankers to be grabbing their assets under an austerity program after two major newspapers in Greece covered the story about the global debt facility and the global currency reset to replace paper currencies with local currencies and national currencies minted from the gold in the global debt facility. The bankers are actually the ones who owe us money under the Treaty of Versailles bonds issued in the 1930s that are now worth more than $2 quadrillion and cancel country debt. The Universal Postal Union is the very center of the financial system. The Postmaster General of the United States is actually more powerful than the President of the United States under commerce. The Universal Postal Union was created 3 years after the bankers foisted a second secret constitution on the United States in 1871. This second secret constitution was not ratified and was not signed. It was foisted on the United States through obscure bankruptcy proceedings in 1871 when the Revolutionary War debt became due. Benjamin Franklin was appointed Postmaster of Philadelphia by the British in 1737 and became Postmaster for Virginia in 1753 and for Pennsylvania in 1757. By 1764, Benjamin Franklin lived in London and represented several other colonial governments as well. In 1775, the Continental Congress appointed Franklin as Postmaster General. Franklin renegotiated the Revolutionary War debts in the Treaty of Paris in 1783 to fall due in 1871. Benjamin Franklin knew what was going to happen when the Revolutionary War debts fell due in 1871. The deliberations of the Constitutional Convention of 1787 were held in strict secrecy. In the notes of Dr. James McHenry, one of Maryland's delegates to the convention, here is what happened when anxious citizens gathered outside Independence Hall in order to learn what had been produced behind closed doors. A Mrs. Powell of Philadelphia asked Benjamin Franklin, "Well, doctor, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy?" With no hesitation whatsoever, Franklin responded, "A republic if you can keep it." In 1871, when the Revolutionary War debts fell due, the bankers replaced the Constitution of 1789 with a second secret constitution. On July 21st, I reported postal fraud to His Excellency Bishar A. Hussain, Director General of the Universal Postal Union International Bureau. This postal fraud is because Megan Brennan, the Postmaster General of the United States, did not do her duty in preventing postal fraud on 2 occasions. The first instance was when Jesse White, Secretary of State of the state of Illinois, invalidated the Global Debt Facility's lien on the Federal Reserve of Chicago. The Federal Reserve owes over $2 quadrillion in Treaty of Versailles bonds to the Global Debt Facility. Last week, the Global Debt Facility, on behalf of the 188 ministers of finance and development that administer the Global Debt Facility containing the world's assets, accused both the Postmaster General of the United States, Megan Brennan, and the Director General of the Universal Postal Union of postal fraud. That's because of 2 fraudulent letters that the Postmaster General carried through the mails. One letter was from Jesse White, the Secretary of State of Illinois, invalidating a financing statement that the Global Debt Facility filed to record a lien against the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. 188 ministers of finance cleared the letter that the Global Debt Facility wrote to Jesse White on April 19, 2015, informing Jesse White that he had no authority to invalidate the lien.